A horror run on WA roads prompts a desperate safety plea. A Perth dad describes falling into the mouth of a bronze whaler. The bomb squad and military probe a suburban guns and explosives discovery. Traffic chaos outside shopping centres in a Boxing Day sales frenzy. And WA cricket fans look to silence crowd critics with a season-high Scorchers turnout.
This is 9 News Perth with Monika.
Good evening. 2 young motorcyclists have been killed in separate Perth crashes, adding to a horror festive long weekend road toll. The deadly crashes sparking a desperate plea from WA's Road Safety Commissioner to take extra care.
Christmas night turns to tragedy on Stirling Highway. A 27-year-old man flung from his motorbike in a horrifying collision with a ute. It was about 9:15 at the intersection of Craig Street in North Fremantle when residents heard a massive bang, the force of the impact splitting the rider's helmet in two. The 17-year-old driver of the Toyota utility trapped inside, firefighters having to cut him free. He was taken to Royal Perth Hospital with serious injuries. 9 News understands 2 doctors who live nearby and a young woman who'd recently completed a first aid course rushed to the scene to help. But despite their efforts, the motorcyclist couldn't be saved. Just hours later in Casuarina, another fatal motorbike crash. A 21-year-old man riding west along Thomas Road suffered critical injuries when he lost control at a roundabout. The 2 fatalities bringing WA's holiday road toll so far to 4.
3 out of the 4 deaths that we have had reported in this holiday season so far of motorcyclists. It is an absolute truth that motorcycle riding is a dangerous thing compared to being in a car.
Prompting this plea.
Make a pledge with me to try and make the rest of this double demerits period fatality free.
Jamie Freestone, 9 News.
To breaking news, a volunteer firefighter has died while responding to a bushfire near Esperance. The man was part of a crew operating a private firefighting vehicle on a neighbouring farm to his near Coolmel Bidjup. Arson squad detectives will travel from Perth tomorrow as part of an investigation as out-of-control fires burn in 2 areas tonight. Homicide detectives are probing the death of a woman in Broome on Christmas Day. Police found the woman, aged in her 30s, with serious head injuries at a Cable Beach home about 6 o'clock last night. She was rushed to hospital but later died. The property on Roe Place was today a crime scene. A man also aged in his 30s is assisting police with inquiries. A Perth father's described how he was mauled by a shark, somehow falling into its mouth as he was foil boarding. Troy Brown's ankle needed to be stitched back together with no fewer than 40 stitches.
These wounds are a reminder of Tony Brown's lucky escape. The 46-year-old foil boarding off Wedge Island when he came off his board on Christmas Eve.
Straight into the water and, like I fell straight into its mouth.
At first, the father of 3 thought he clipped his ankle on his board.
Then quickly realised that the pain was on both sides of my ankle, so I realised it wasn't the foil. So I put my feet on the top of the board and saw my injuries.
Searching the water, but he couldn't see the predator, which is believed to be a bronze whaler, so sailed 2.5 kilometres back to shore.
I was watching the blood run out all over the deck of the board because it's concave. There's a big puddle of blood on my board as I sailed all the way back.
Hauling himself back to his shack.
I walked on my tiptoes because there was a lot of soft sand, so I tried to keep my injuries out of the sand.
Tony's wife and children leaping to action before he was taken to Joondalup Health Campus.
I had surgery, scrubbed it out, and over 40 stitches.
He's not the only one with a shark tale to tell. A tiger shark spotted circling this wakeboarder off Whitford's beach.
Troy Brown will spend the next 2 weeks recovering in a moon boot. Then he's hoping to get straight back out in the water.
Look, I was unlucky, but I was also probably very lucky to get away with what I did, what injuries I got.
Rachel Clifford, 9 News.
The police bomb squad and military are tonight investigating the discovery of a huge collection of guns, ammunition and explosives at a home in Perth's northeast. Live to Jamie Freestone in Jane Brook. Jamie, a man's death led to the find.
Monika, police were carrying out a welfare check last night here in O'Reilly Court when they found the man dead at his home. But it's the military buff's collection of firearms and ordnance that has caused those officers concern. They called in the TRG bomb response unit and officers from the Defence Force. They've spent hours at the property this afternoon x-raying the items to make sure they are not live. The specialist bomb squad trailer was also brought to the scene. The homeowner was a licensed firearms collector and it's understood he died of natural causes.
I think it was just for himself to collect, but the explosives and stuff is a little bit concerning considering we've got so many kids on the street.
Monika, the specialist crews have wrapped up their work for today, but they'll be back tomorrow to continue going through all of the items.
Jamie, thanks for the update. There's been traffic chaos outside Perth shopping centres in a Boxing Day sales frenzy. Experts say cash-strapped West Australians are still spending as long as retailers are offering good deals.
Streams of shoppers ready to splash cash.
I got some Oraton bags and also some Michael Kors bags.
Bargain hunters going bumper to bumper at DFO. One driver getting bogged trying to avoid the queue on Tonkin Highway.
It was already really busy leading up to Boxing Day, but today's line was just crazy.
Deals too good to ignore at Karrinyup and Burragoon.
Well, we actually came shopping for bathers, but we ended up getting distracted and we bought so much stuff. We bought a whole pack of T2 stuff, and then my husband Matt decided to go and buy a whole year's supply of bath bombs.
Sleepier scenes in our city. Culture King's one of the only stores to fill up as doors open.
What time did you guys get here this morning?
About 6:30. 6:30.
Why? That's so early. What? Wouldn't you rather sleep in?
Nah, these sales are better.
West Australians are predicted to spend $2.6 billion this post-Christmas sales season, up 1.4% on last year, despite the cost of living crunch.
Consumers are out looking for a bargain, looking to get their household budget to go further. The feeling has been that people are prepared to part with their money as long as they know they're getting a great deal.
If you didn't feel like battling the crowds today, there's still a chance to bag a bargain. Plenty of brands keeping their sales going until the new year. After a big day of shopping, there's only one thing to do.
Yeah, just have my feet up. That's basically it.
Amber Wilkinson, 9 News.
The vessels have been primed and the starter's gun fired. A full fleet now off and sailing in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race. Thousands of boaties and spectators scrambling for the best viewing spots on and around the harbour.
They're off. Bang, away they go in the 78th Rolex Sydney Hobart. The Great Race South is underway.
The yearly tradition, always a spectacle.
They are in race mode at the moment. It is all happening here.
It was all happening in the harbour. Thousands packed onto yachts, cruisers, really anything that floated. For those not competing, the race is merely an excuse. The real event is being out and about, soaking up our city. It was muggy, it was raining, but who cares? They certainly didn't, and neither did Bob, on board the oldest yacht in the fleet, and with the most interesting crew member.
Well, he's the Admiral, and Chris and I are the co-skippers, so we take orders from the cat.
He and his crew not focusing on when they finish, just that they do.
A few thunderstorms are going to keep us on our toes, because there's strong winds associated with that. But yeah, we're just going to go out there and go as fast as we can, as best we can, and sail safe and have fun.
But it's not fun for everyone. Some are out to set the pace. Law Connect planning to scale the heights of the boating world and win this year's Sydney to Hobart.
You're always just wanting to get going, to be honest. Like, you've done all the preparation and you just want to get out of here on the day.
But for every boatie, there's a family behind them, cheering, but not before waving goodbye.
I'm proud of him. Trust him that he'll do good and hopefully he'll win.
Now, the weather has been a little indifferent across the course of today, but the competitors tell me it is relatively smooth sailing on the way out of the harbour, but it won't last. Wind, rain and storms are predicted. But nothing is spoiling this party. On Sydney Harbour, Alexia, 9 News.
Controversial social media app TikTok is back in the spotlight tonight, accused of harvesting Australians' data without their consent. There are calls for an investigation into what the opposition describes as a mass privacy breach.
It's no secret while millions of Australians are watching TikTok, it's busy watching us.
all our data is being harvested and collated around the internet.
When a person visits a website and creates an account, tech giants can use a tracking tool known as a pixel to collect the data, obtaining email addresses, phone numbers and browser histories to piece together your identity and buying habits.
I would hazard to guess that any company that advertises on the internet is using pixels from Google, Facebook and TikTok because it's a way of measuring their success in advertising.
Even without a TikTok account or the app, your details can be taken. The platform tonight accused of doing so without consent, which the opposition says could be unlawful.
This is a very serious breach of Australians' privacy, and I'm calling on the Privacy Commissioner, the Information Commissioner, to investigate this urgently.
In a statement, TikTok says our use of this tool is compliant with all current Australian privacy laws. We dismiss any suggestion otherwise.
And we do need government to get in front of this to make sure we have the safeguards in place for the community.
Some marketing firms are now recommending brands ditch TikTok's tracing tool as experts warn consumers about where their data could end up.
The fear here is that TikTok is a company that has its roots in China and therefore is our data, without our consent, being sent away to China.
Well, they well could have handed over this data and we would be none the wiser. We may never know.
Eliza Edwards, 9 News.
Furious families of hostages have interrupted a speech by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, calling on him to do more to free hostages held in Gaza. The group held signs saying, "We trust you to bring them home." Netanyahu will meet with his war cabinet in the next 24 hours, but it's not clear if they'll discuss a ceasefire. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has addressed his people as the country marks Christmas for the first time in December. Earlier this year, he signed legislation moving the public holiday to the 25th, defying the Russian Orthodox Church, which celebrates in January. President Zelensky reassured Ukrainians who are fighting the Russian invasion that in the end, darkness will lose. A 59-year-old woman has died after being struck by a falling tree during severe storms in southeast Queensland. 120,000 homes were plunged into darkness and countless others destroyed in the wild weather.
Lighting up like a Christmas tree, an unexpected sky show. 250,000 lightning bolts bearing down on Christmas Day. A superstorm plunging 120,000 homes and businesses across southeast Queensland into darkness.
It was like some tornado, a cyclone must have just hit this area.
At daybreak, the devastation unfathomable. Houses blown to smithereens, including Glenda Davidson's safe haven of 21 years.
It blew the glass doors out and then just took the house with it. Absolutely terrifying. It was a roar.
The destructive storm also deadly. A 59-year-old woman killed when she was struck by a falling tree. Countless other close calls. Chris Noonan had been lying in this bed when his roof was ripped off.
Before all the bricks came down on top of me, I just got up. Just in time.
70 millimetres of rain pelting down in an hour and wind gusts of 106 kilometres an hour on the Gold Coast, crumpling cranes and causing chaos for caravans and campers.
I've never seen anything like this.
Popular theme parks forced to close during one of their busiest times.
To give you a sense of how unprecedented this storm was, they've never before seen concrete power poles taken down by a storm.
Already this Boxing Day's been spent fighting the uphill battle. Jacob Chico, 9 News.
Cricket fans have flocked to the MCG for one of Australia's great sporting events, the Boxing Day Test. While rain disrupted the on-field action, there was no shortage of people honouring Shane Warne's legacy by taking free heart checks.
It's a Boxing Day tradition, but this year the test has a little extra heart.
Such an easy thing to do and a wonderful legacy from the great man who left us too soon.
It's all in Warney's honour. 23 stations set up in and around the G, delivering free 4-minute checks to raise awareness around heart health, with individual results sent straight to your email.
Tests your blood pressure, heart rate, measures your height. I'm only 25 years old and, no one's invincible.
So we thought we'd just take a little break from sitting for the cricket and come down and have a look.
Well, even the Hulk needs a heart check, right?
Yes, it does. It's important for everyone.
You'll take this seriously?
Absolutely, you've got to, especially when you get over your 50s like me. Your health's very important.
And from good health to good spirits, Barbie turned out with a crew of Kens. So too did a bunch of bananas. The crowd of close to 60,000 delivering a smorgasbord of colour. colour. Is this a tradition?
Yep. For the last 10 years or so, it's been bloody awesome.
Guys, was there a sale on these or what's the deal?
Yep. Yeah.
How much, sorry?
$20 from Lowe's.
The green and gold was well and truly out in force, but the Pakistan faithful weren't put off. What you lack in numbers, can you make up for in voice?
Yes, that's what we can do. Show us.
Pakistan!
Have you come to bless Boxing Day?
Yes, yep.
Are you going to bless it with clear skies, no rain?
No, I'm thinking of putting a bit of rain on for us.
Well, the heavens did open, but there was still dancing in the stands, the celebration stopping briefly for a floppy hat nod to the Spin King at 3:50. And the Legends legacy will continue to be a theme here at the G right through until day 4 of the test, with Warnie's family and friends hopeful of ticking off at least 1,000 of these checks each day.
Just do it. Go and get a free heart test because it could save your life.
Stephanie Anderson, 9 News.
While Melbourne's test crowd numbers are much higher than they were in Perth, WA cricket fans are looking to silence East Coast critics at tonight's Big Bash game at Optus Stadium. Erin Harwood is there, and Erin, the Scorchers are expecting a season-high attendance.
That's right, Mon. Perth's lower than expected attendance during the West Test sparked criticism from the eastern states, but WA fans are hitting back in fine fashion. Stadium bosses expecting around 35 to 40,000 people through the gates for the Scorchers' clash against the Renegades. And what makes it even sweeter, Perth is only beating their own record with 28,500 turning out to the side's first home game last Wednesday. Mon, there's still some people dribbling in behind me. Play hasn't got underway yet. That will be starting shortly, but wouldn't it be great to smash that attendance figure?
It sure would, and be even better if the Scorchers continue their winning ways. Thank you, Erin. Terrific weather for the BBL. Brittany, Hoskins, conditions this Boxing Day, it couldn't be more perfect for cricket.
Mon, we saw a cool change with a bit of cloud around, but by the afternoon the sky was clear and the sun was shining. We hit our top 26.5 degrees around lunchtime. That followed a warm overnight low of 20.9 early this morning. Right now it's sitting around 23 degrees. A trough moving inland brought cloud cover as we woke, and it was a sticky start to Boxing Day with humidity hovering around 80% at one point. Pearce was our warmest suburb, peaking at 29.1 degrees, while Swanbourne and Mandurah hovered at around 25. And Mon, we can expect warmer days ahead as we near the end of 2023. I'll have those details a little later on.
Till then, Britt. If it seems scam texts are getting worse, you're right. Ahead, the cons catching us out, particularly at this time of year. Now you see it, now you don't. A bridge wiped out in floodwaters. Louis lets loose. Will he be on his best behaviour for Christmas church? And later, the chronic conditions about to become much cheaper to treat. Finally, some good news in the battle against scammers. Even with a rise in the number of incidents reported this year, for the first time there's been a drop in the amount of money lost.
If you feel like scam text messages are relentless, you're right. This year, false billing and phishing cons have surged, netting more than $52 million from unsuspecting Australians. One new scam targets loyalty programs, including Qantas and Flybuys. Victims tricked into thinking their points are expiring, clicking through to a fake website.
Don't click on the link. However legitimate it may seem, it is much better to separately verify.
Employment scams also up by a massive 267% in 2023. Here, criminals impersonate recruitment agencies, convincing vulnerable people looking for work into paying cryptocurrency. Investment scams cause the most financial damage, $277 million in losses. A huge number, but actually down 5% on last year. Money lost to romance scams also decreased, down by 12%.
It does represent an unprecedented effort across government and across the private sector to work together to stop scams impacting the Australian community.
Hopefully that's one trend which continues in 2024.
Major floodings wiped out a bridge and sent residents scrambling in a small town in Argentina. The wave was triggered by an avalanche and has isolated the town of Rincon. No injuries have been reported, but people are expected to be cut off for weeks. A sprawling caravan of migrants is trekking through Mexico, heading for the United States. It's estimated the group of up to 7,000 people, many with families and young children, is the largest in a year. Many are criticising the Biden administration, blaming inadequate border policies. Prince Andrew has caused a stir as the royals celebrated Christmas, accompanied by ex-wife Sarah Ferguson for the first time in more than 30 years. The family putting on a united front in Sandringham, with the youngest members front and centre.
A Christmas delivery from the Prince and Princess of Wales. A black and white portrait of their 3 children captioned, "A very Merry Christmas from our family to yours." Charlotte looking proud, sitting between her brothers. Louis, often a favourite for not following the rules, looking away from the camera, his legs swinging. They were near the front as the royal family walked to a Christmas morning church service at Sandringham, north of London. King Charles and Queen Camilla waving to the crowd gathered by the road. Prince William and Kate and the boys in navy blue, Charlotte in green. Louis seen holding hands with cousin Mia Tyndall. Comparisons made to pictures of his father and her mother on Christmas Day in 1988. Other senior royals in attendance, Princess Anne and Prince Edward and wife Sophie, and Prince Andrew, no longer part of frontline royal duties, accompanied by ex-wife Sarah Ferguson for the first time in many years. This is where the royal family celebrated Christmas almost every year of the late Queen Elizabeth's reign. King Charles is doing some things his own way, but this is one tradition he appears intent on maintaining. A show of unity as the family left St Mary Magdalene Church for Christmas lunch, some of the youngest royals mingling with well-wishers.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
All appearing relaxed and excited Fergie cracking jokes. Before being ushered along by Princess Beatrice. The service followed by lunch and games at Sandringham House. It's expected Charles will spend several days here before heading to Scotland. In Sandringham, Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
Ovarian cancer and cystic fibrosis, just 2 of the illnesses set to become cheaper to treat. Details next. A home goes up in flames, how the property's linked to Beyonce. How an American police officer and retired Australian greyhound are saving each other's lives. And later, you've barely swallowed your Christmas pudding, but Easter in the supermarkets starts now.
9 News, brought to you by Stan.
Potentially life-saving drugs will become affordable when they're added to the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme on January 1. Gabriella Rogers has the details.
The PBS allows Australians to access crucial medications at a fraction of the price. One of the drugs is Orkambi, used to treat cystic fibrosis. From January, infants aged just 1 will be able to access this medication, with research showing that treating patients as young as possible can slow the progression of the disease. Without the PBS, Orkambi would cost more than $200,000 a year.
We think about 30 babies and their families will benefit from this new listing of Orkambi. Getting in early will really reduce the progression of that disease and the damage done to lungs and other organs.
A drug called Lynparza is also being expanded on the PBS. It targets ovarian cancer, which claims around 1,000 lives in Australia each year. This drug will be accessible for women with newly diagnosed advanced ovarian cancer. Changes to the PBS will also see Calquence become available for patients with chronic lymphocytic leukemia or small lymphocytic lymphoma. These types of cancer affect the bone marrow, blood and lymph nodes.
This gives Australians access to the most cutting-edge treatments from around the world at affordable prices.
Finally, the drug Ultomiris will become available on the PBS to treat patients with atypical HUS, a rare genetic disease where part of the body's immune system is out of control, causing kidney damage. Without the subsidy, patients would pay around $380,000 a year for treatment.
The childhood home of singer Beyonce has gone up in flames. The brick house in Houston was home to the Grammy Award winner until she was around 5 years old. While the damage to the second story is extensive, the family who now lives there escaped injury. It's somewhat of an unlikely duo, a Texas police officer and a retired Australian greyhound. In Dallas, Ozzy is the first canine in a program helping American officers with PTSD, while also giving retired racing dogs a new lease on life.
You've got a friend in me.
In one of America's busiest police stations, there's a new four-legged officer on the beat.
Good boy, Ozzy.
Ozzy is a retired Australian racing greyhound deployed to Dallas with his new partner, Officer Joe King.
It means a lot to me to have a tool, to have a partner that can be the benefit of the entire department. He lights up the room, and it's really gone far beyond what I expected it to be.
Often referred to as man's best friend, but Ozzy is so much more than that. He's a trained service dog assisting officers suffering from PTSD. For Dallas police, who in 2016 lost 5 of their own when a sniper targeted officers, Ozzy has brought peace to some of that pain.
That was a gut punch in 2016. But having a guy like this to go out and actually make people smile.
It's pretty important.
Absolutely.
Next to the officers that we lost in 9/11, it's one of the biggest losses of law enforcement that we've had in this country. Ozzy's being accepted with open arms as a member of the department, and he's going to change lives.
Ozzy's found his new home here in America thanks to the group Aussie Mates in the States, a rescue organisation working alongside Greyhound Racing New South Wales to rehome retired dogs. This year alone, 450 greyhounds have moved over to North America, but Ozzy, who was a winner on the track, is the first to be trained to help with PTSD.
They are like medicine. They calm the soul.
Vietnam veteran John McQuaid is a Texas local. He's helped train Ozzy and knows from personal experience the enormous impact a fur friend can make.
For me, it's priceless. It's so major. I can't really express it. I survive every day because of these dogs.
The success of Ozzy here at the Dallas Police Department means this program is now being rolled out even wider. Right now, there's a fresh group of retirees preparing to find their forever home here in Texas.
Nettie, cup and big praise. Tell them they're the best dogs in the world.
8 retired racers now undergoing their specialised training in Sydney.
When the PTSD person gets a bit uptight, the dog can read that body language and interrupt it.
A little Aussie doing what Aussies do best, lending his mate a hand. In Dallas, Texas, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
Is it too soon? Easter favourites hit the shelves just a day after Christmas. That's after sport. And the unlikely shopper caught trying to snap up sales. First, Alexia, Pesce with Sport and Lex. The Boxing Day test has been a memorable one for a West Aussie.
Mon before player Mr Cricket earning himself the highest honour, while out in the middle it was a stop-start affair. Day delayed as Dave rides his luck before the tourists hit back. The Demons down under, ready to redeem himself in a friendly battle. And a nervous mum sends 4 sons off to see the latest on the City to Hobart. Usman Khawaja has made a statement of sorts on day 1 of the Boxing Day test, writing his daughter's names on his shoes in the wake of his battle with the ICC. In front of more than 62,000 fans, openers Khawaja and Dave Warner got Australia off to a bright start, but a late Pakistan fight back has the host 3 for 187 at stumps.
Overcast skies in Melbourne had Pakistan electing to bowl, much to Australia's dismay.
We're going to have a bowl as well.
But the visitors failed to capitalise early.
It's all dropped. Can you believe it?
David Warner with a reprieve in his final Boxing Day test. It was almost enough for Pakistan to throw in the towel.
Yeah, that's one way to distract your opposition.
Forced to cover the peace staff symbol on his bat by the ICC, Usman Khawaja wrote his daughters' names, Aisha and Ayla, on his shoe as he sought to continue his stellar 2023.
Probably the shot of the morning.
In fact, I'll say it is.
Warner became Australia's second highest run scorer across all formats.
Pulled away, the length was there, Davey Warner strikes.
Before departing for 38 last over before lunch.
And he's got him. He has picked him up.
Khawaja soon followed Warner back to the pavilion, gone for 42.
Glove straight to second slip. They have their breakthrough.
And there were ominous signs on the horizon.
Yeah, it's dark. Let's just leave it at that.
Labuschagne and Smith added 6 runs before the heavens finally opened.
The umpires have come together and decided it's time to get the covers on.
Play was suspended for close to 3 hours, but after the covers came off, to throw a cat amongst the pigeons.
Marnus, he's got an eye like a hawk. He's just chased the pigeons away.
The Aussies had to face a difficult last hour. Smith was given out LBW, but a successful review gave the batsman another chance.
Wickets missing.
He wasn't so lucky when DRS got involved the second time around.
The smallest of edges does for Steve Smith.
Smith out for 26. Nat Yannidis, 9 News.
Meanwhile, a top honour for the man known as Mr Cricket. West Aussie Mike Hussey unveiled as the latest member of the Australian Cricket Hall of Fame before today's play at the MCG. In 79 Test matches, he made more than 6,000 runs at an average of 51.52.
I didn't really know what to say. I was sort of stunned, really, but obviously very proud, very honoured. I was just happy to play one Test match for Australia. That was my goal growing up. So to be, joining the Hall of Fame is something that I'll obviously truly cherish for the rest of my life.
Former women's captain Lynn Larson was also inducted. Australian tennis star Alex de Minaur has landed in Perth to eager fans ahead of Friday's United Cup. The world number 12 touching down before heading straight to RAC Arena for a practice session. The Demon hunting redemption against Great Britain's Cameron Norrie. The Brit taking to the court only hours beforehand, making no secret the matchup is set to be heated.
He always plays well in Australia and he really likes the conditions here, so it's going to be a difficult one, and he's one of my good friends and I'm practicing with him probably more than anyone else.
All the action we streamed live and exclusive on 9 and 9 Now. The Perth Wildcats are back on the winners list after narrowly defeating the Taipans by 3 on the road. Bryce Cotton again unstoppable, producing a 13-point first half effort to finish with a game-high 33 points. Cairns ramping up the pressure, but still Cotton and the Cats couldn't be contained.
Try and get back in this one as Cotton throws up a little party trick, gets it to fall, and the hot hand continues.
Perth staying on the road to face the 36ers on Thursday. A few tough hours loom for crews in the Sydney to Hobart with thunderstorms, hail and rough seas forecast for the trek south. While Andrew Comanche holds a decent lead, this year's great race is truly a family affair.
Among the 20 sailor-strong URM Group crew, you'll find 4 brothers, David, Andrew, Nick and Anthony Johnston.
How special is this?
It's a lot of fun, actually. We're all ready. We've done the prep, had a nice Christmas, a few beers. Next beer's in Hobart.
The Johnstons tackling the great race for a second time as a quartet, banter aplenty between the brothers.
So, Nick, you're the best sailor?
I reckon by far, yeah.
And I'm the second best. I'm the second best.
The 5th Johnston brother Nigel, unable to join his siblings in this year's race.
You'll be part of the URM Group crew next year.
Testing. I need some testing and a few overnight travels, I think, to see how my sea legs go.
Their mother Wendy has mixed feelings.
Very proud. As long as they get there safely, I'll be very happy.
What are your emotions right now? How do you feel knowing that they're going to face some pretty tough weather?
I would prefer not to think about that.
Hugs with her sons before it was time to wave her boys goodbye. URM joining the 103 yacht fleet heading for the start line, where a tight battle took place between the Supermaxis.
Protest they're calling.
Oh, well, it's a classic, port and starboard, tacking too close, 100 footers, you can't do that.
First through the head, Scallywag opted not to do penalty turns as the close calls continued. Law Connect leading Andrew Comanche early in the light winds.
This record is probably slipping away.
The defending Line Honours champions taking over as skies ahead turned grey. Zach Bailey, 9 News.
Let's hope the rain can stay away tomorrow, Mon, in Melbourne.
And let's hope it doesn't continue down the straight and wreak havoc on the fleet there. Coming up next, the winning numbers in a $90 million jackpot, Australia's second biggest lotto draw. And we reflect on the biggest sporting moments of 2023 and the champions who made them happen. Then Brittany Hoskins with your weather forecast for New Year's Eve.
Mom, we enjoyed a cool change today, but it is heating up. I'll have those details coming up soon.
It was the year the Matildas weaved their magic. Our cricketers and netballers were on top of the world. The Magpies swooped and Big Ange won over a new army of fans. Here are the sporting highs and lows of 2023.
Sport is filled with champions, superstars, match winners. But once in a generation along comes something else, a force that connects an entire nation and changes the very fabric of the game itself.
Can write the Matildas into history.
A World Cup on home soil was always going to be huge, but the Matildas made it monumental with their daring semi-final run. Sam Kerr's side broke records, won hearts and sent shivers up our spines.
Kerr with the shot. Oh, I say that's incredible. Don't want to stop at all.
They weren't the only Aussies seeking global domination.
And Maxwell hits it high. Unbelievable.
Our cricketers conquered the world in India, lifting the 50-over trophy for a record 6th time.
And Australia win the World Cup.
While the Diamonds shone brightest on netball's biggest stage.
The Diamonds have done it. They are the world champions.
Back home, the kings of close wins were at it again.
Jamie Elliott, can he be the hero again? You can't believe this game.
As good as they were, Collingwood wasn't the only powerhouse firing at the right time.
And the Blues just keep on rolling. It's 9 on end.
Arch rivals Carlton climbing off the canvas. Navy blue fanaticism taking hold amid a preliminary final charge 2 decades in the making.
Can you believe it?
But when it came to footy showpiece, black and white was the order of the day. Premiership sealed with a kiss after a decider for the ages.
How sweet it is! Collingwood win the grand final!
A 16th cup arriving on the same day as the Magpies' newest member.
Already the best day of my life because my wife gave birth to a little girl this morning at 7:45.
Big Ange took the Premier League by storm.
The biggest thing about it was that there's an enormous challenge here. I love that.
Postecoglou's early reign as Tottenham manager revitalising tortured Spurs fans, leaving English pundits in awe.
Son can shoot and Son can score.
Speaking of the old enemy,
Knocked it over the boundary edge, and Australia are home.
didn't they fire up come the Ashes?
Johnny Bairstow's walked out of his crease here. This could well be out.
Tension spilled over at the home of cricket. We got our hands on the prize that actually mattered. Not for the first time, our Golden Girls lit up the pool.
It's completely dominated. There's going to be 5 gold medals for marvellous Molly.
Novak returned to Melbourne Park and normal service resumed.
It's 10 out of 10. Perfection for Novak Djokovic.
But finally, youth was on hand to challenge his reign.
New king of centre court, Carlos Alcaraz. Coco Gauff is the US Open champion. The Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions.
South Africa fulfill their destiny.
It took everybody to win this football game.
Max Verstappen wins 19 Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri wins the sprint.
But for all our success on the world stage, not everything came up green and gold.
I'm losing it. Embarrassed for the Aussie people.
A disastrous campaign in France saw Wallabies coach Eddie Jones quit in disgrace, His arrival in Japan months later, the ultimate betrayal.
I don't feel any guilt at all about this process.
Australia's NBA pin-up boy Josh Giddey found himself at the centre of an ugly scandal.
Investigating claims the 21-year-old had an inappropriate relationship.
Peace in golf's uncivil war as the PGA and LIV agreed to a shock merger.
The game of golf is better for what we've done here today.
Netball's bitter pay dispute hit home.
It's been really hard.
All those blood, sweat and tears ultimately worth it for those who reach the summit.
It goes to Cleary. Nathan Clark! Wow! Queens of the jungle. They reclaim their throne.
Shane Van Gisbergen is now a three-time winner of the Great Race. Like the ceiling can hold us. 22 years since the last Cups double.
Without a fight for the Caulfield Cup.
Jockey Mark Zahra fought to rewrite history.
Without a fight, Mark Zahra, a Melbourne Cup champion.
The door closed on storied careers across all codes, but only one crafted the dream retirement, the seas parting for Ollie in his final ever race.
The racing gods have spoken. Ollie goes out a winner in the Gold Rush.
Yep, 2023 delivered the goods.
Looking for an Uber Eats delivery or something there? Is carrying some McDonald's.
There was no shortage of shock and awe.
She had no idea that's who was going to pop down next to her.
And even when things got a little weird, even feral, we were hooked right to the very end. Because sport doesn't follow a script. It sweeps us off our feet, giving every young girl and boy the belief they can achieve anything. Makes us feel like we can take on the world. Braden Ingram, 9 News.
A big year in sport, and talking of big, a massive $90 million Oz Lotto jackpot is up for grabs tonight. If you've bought a ticket, the lucky numbers you'll need are 17, 44, 22, 42, 31, 24 and 28, and the SUPs 3, 16 and 39. Those numbers again are 17, 44, 22, 42, 31, 24 and 28, and the SUPs 3, 16 and 39. Good luck. While Australians are still finishing their Christmas leftovers, hot cross buns are already appearing on supermarket shelves just over 3 months before Easter. Along with the traditional fruit and chocolate varieties, fairy bread flavour is on offer this year. A massive alligator has been evicted from outside a shopping centre in Florida. It took 7 people to restrain the gator, which measured just over 3.5 metres long and weighed 270 kilos. Brittany Hoskins with all your weather details next. Stay with us.
Welcome back. We woke to a bit of cloud cover this morning and it was sticky too, with humidity sitting around 80% at one point. We hit our maximum temperature, 26.5 degrees around lunchtime. That followed an overnight low of 20.9. Right now it's around 22 degrees here in the city. Taking a look at the satellite, the rain is set to continue for parts of Queensland. Severe thunderstorms with damaging wind gusts, heavy rainfall and large hail possible in parts of the state. Brisbane too could see a storm heading for a top of 33. A shower or two for Sydney, 29 degrees. Cooler in Melbourne with a high chance of showers in the afternoon, 23 the max, while cloud is clearing for Adelaide, 26. Back home, and heatwave warnings are still in place for parts of our north. Possible storm for Kununurra, 41 degrees. Even hotter in Marble Bar, which will hit 45 degrees. Looking further south, it'll be partly cloudy in Geraldton and 27. Bunbury, 28. Albany, windy with a shower or two, a cool 21 degrees at the top. Checking the coastal, southerly winds 15 to 20 knots, tending southwesterly in the middle of the day. Seas and swells 1 to 1.5 metres. In Perth, nothing but sunshine tomorrow. We should reach a top of 27 degrees after an overnight low of 16. Similar conditions across the suburbs. Joondalup sunny and 27, becoming windy in Swanbourne, 26 the top, and also 26 in Mandurah, where it'll be a partly cloudy day. And as we round out the year, we can expect warm weather across Perth, 30 degrees on Thursday, 33 on Friday. The wind picking up on Saturday with a top temperature of 34, cooling down again for New Year's Eve before we kick off 2024 with a mild, partly cloudy day. Tuesday, 33. Plenty of sunshine to soak up as we round out the end of the year, Mon.
Aren't we lucky, Britt? Thank you. And thanks for your company this Boxing Day. Stay tuned for A Current Affair with Dimity Clancy. Enjoy your evening here on 9.